In front of the cameras, they are flawless stars with radiant smiles and the most luxurious lives imaginable. But when the lights go out, hidden behind it all are terrifying secrets of illness no one could have foreseen. Some stars were discovered to be HIV positive after years of reckless indulgence shocking the entire world. Others quietly battled rare, devastating diseases so severe that even modern medicine was powerless against them. So, who are these Hollywood stars? At what terrible price do they have to pay when carrying within themselves death sentences with no escape? Chapter 1. Rock Hudson. The death that forced the White House to acknowledge AIDS for the first time. In the 1950s, 1960s, Rock Hudson was Hollywood's king of the box office. Standing nearly 6'5" with a radiant smile and deep, captivating eyes, he became the masculine icon millions of American women dreamed of. Life magazine once called Hudson the man every American woman dreams of. On screen, he embodied charming gentlemen with endless romances, convincing the public that off-screen Hudson was indeed the ultimate heartbreaker. But behind those dazzling lights hid a truth. Hollywood trembled to even whisper. In 1984, during a routine health check in Paris, doctors quietly broke the devastating news Rock Hudson was HIV positive. At that time, HIV/AIDS was still a death sentence with medicine nearly powerless. No antivirals, no treatment regimen, no ray of hope. Journalist Randy Schultz in And the Band Played On recalled that Hudson was devastated yet forced to keep the secret. His PR team compelled him to keep filming to appear alongside glamorous actresses in order to preserve the image of the irresistible leading man. In Variety magazine, he remained a shining star. But behind the camera, every mouth sore, every lingering fever was a terrifying reminder that the truth might soon be exposed. In the 1980s, AIDS meant collapse. The immune system destroyed lungs consumed by fungal infections, patients dependent on blood transfusions. The final photos published by Time haunted millions. The once strong Rock Hudson reduced to skin and bone, hollow cheeks, sunken eyes, staggering like a shadow. Friends recalled that even climbing a few steps left him gasping, drenched in sweat, as if he had run a marathon. Some nights Hudson was in such agony, he would pound his fists against the wall, trying to forget the feeling of his own flesh tearing from within. The breaking point came at a fundraising gala against the disease where he appeared with Doris Day. Trembling before the audience, his voice hoarse, gripping the microphone with frail hands, he declared, "I am not ashamed. I just want to help others." The hall fell silent, then erupted in sobs. Elizabeth Taylor, unable to hold back, wept on stage later, becoming one of the leading voices in the global fight against AIDS. Hudson's death on October 2, 1985, not only claimed a star, but also forced the American political stage to awaken. The following day, the New York Times bluntly wrote President Ronald Reagan, Hudson's longtime friend, can no longer remain silent. Indeed, under public pressure, the White House for the first time publicly addressed AIDS in a national speech. One death changed the entire attitude of government and society toward the century's most feared disease. If Audrey Hepburn left the world with a quiet smile in Switzerland, Rock Hudson departed under blinding lights, leaving America stunned and shaken. But the tragedies did not end there. Before Hollywood could recover from the terror of AIDS, another male star, an icon of muscle and masculinity, fell victim to an invisible poison right on the film set. Number 2, Steve McQueen struck down by asbestos dust on set. In the late 1970s, as audiences awaited Steve McQueen's next thrilling role, the King of Cool suddenly vanished. Major Los Angeles papers cautiously wrote a few short lines saying he was ill. But behind the silence was a chilling truth. McQueen was facing mesothelioma, a malignant cancer of the mesothelium directly linked to asbestos, dubbed the silent killer of the 20th century. This disease was extremely rare, with only a few thousand cases diagnosed annually in the U.S. But once contracted, death was almost certain, as cancer cells clung tightly to the delicate membrane surrounding the lungs, heart, and stomach. Experts at the Mayo Clinic once remarked, Mesothelioma is a pre-written death sentence. It's only a matter of when. The early symptoms mimicked the flu-dry cough, chest pain, shortness of breath. Yet within months, McQueen faced a nightmare. He could not lie down to sleep. Every time he reclined, a suffocating grip closed around his lungs. The man who once raced motorcycles at breakneck speed in The Great Escape now slumped in chairs, gasping for air, unable even to climb a small staircase. In desperation, McQueen sought any chance at survival. According to People magazine 1980, he spent over $40,000 on an underground doctor in Mexico who injected bizarre concoctions made from sheep liver extract and beef fat. He even secretly traveled to Switzerland to try embryo cell implants, a procedure banned in the US for its dangers. But these were illusions to cling to. In his ABC interview with Barbara Walters, McQueen appeared so thin he was barely recognizable. His eyes still burned with defiance, but his voice cracked. "I'm not afraid of death. I'm just angry that I can't ride one more Mustang on screen." On November 7, 1980, in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, Steve McQueen breathed his last at only 50 years old. The sudden death shook America. Both the New York Post and Los Angeles Times reported he had been exposed to asbestos from racing suits and explosive film sets. His passing fueled a wave of lawsuits against asbestos corporations, forcing the U.S. Congress to change labor safety laws. Chapter 3. Audrey Hepburn, felled by a 1 in 10 million invisible disease. January 1993. Paris skies were gray and cold. When the New York Times reported Audrey Hepburn has died in Switzerland aged 63, the world was stunned. The woman who had melted millions of hearts in Breakfast at Tiffany's, hailed by Vogue as the immortal muse of cinema, had not died of old age but from an obscure disease, appendiceal cancer. So rare was this cancer that even at the U.S. National Cancer Institute, a veteran surgeon admitted in The Lancet, "In a lifetime of operations, I've seen fewer than 10 cases. It was dubbed the invisible disease because tumors could grow silently for years without obvious signs. By the time it was detected, it was usually too late. The tumor had spread like rotting roots across the abdomen." Audrey was its most tragic victim. At first, she suffered vague abdominal pains, occasional nausea. Neither she nor her doctor suspected it was the start of a death sentence. When her abdomen became painfully swollen, doctors in Los Angeles rushed to operate. They were horrified. Cancerous cells had spread thickly like black sludge beyond rescue. The illness ravaged not only her body, but her spirit. A close friend recalled in a 1994 BBC documentary, "Every night Audrey needed morphine just to sleep a few hours. Yet every morning she still put on her white dress, smiling kindly as if she knew no pain." Behind that smile were bruised arms from needles, nights of tears facing darkness alone. Even more heartbreaking were theories of its cause. Le Monde suggested Audrey's wartime childhood of starvation, surviving on moldy bread and turnip water at 15, had left lasting internal damage. Nutritionists added that throughout her career, she maintained a strict diet to preserve her delicate silhouette, weakening her immune system and giving cancer fertile ground. In her final days at her home in Tolochenaz, Switzerland, Audrey concealed her illness. She only sent UNICEF, where she was a goodwill ambassador, a note saying she needed rest to avoid hindering aid campaigns in Africa. Her housekeeper tearfully recalled on her last evening, Audrey clasped a friend's hand, smiled, and whispered, "Life is a party. Dress for it." A silver swan closed her life in silence, leaving an irreplaceable void in world cinema. But even as the world mourned Audrey, Hollywood was rocked by another death, this time. Not quiet, but like a bomb, forcing the world to confront the brutal truth of the century's most feared illness. Chapter 4. Rita Hayworth, sedated and left to waste away in shame from Alzheimer's. During what you prove, millions of American soldiers pinned photos of Rita Hayworth on their barracks walls as talismans. With fiery red hair, dreamy eyes, and her legendary glove striptease in Gilda, she was dubbed the Love Goddess. On screen, she dazzled so brightly that Life magazine once wrote, "When Hayworth enters the frame, all else bows." Yet the brighter her past glory, the more tragic her later downfall. By the